Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
And today Eric and I are going to tell you how we felt about Wonder Woman. It's Gal Gadot, it's Chris Pine, it's Wonder Woman, and
Professor Lupin.
And yeah, I was surprised to see him. Quite a few faces that I was surprised to see that either didn't make it in the trailer or I just didn't know they were in the film. And yeah, so let's go ahead and jump straight into it, shall we? Wonder Woman, of course, is primarily a period piece that is bookended in present day. I think it's okay to mention that. But it's primarily taking place during World War I, and it's Wonder Woman's origin and her first battle in the world of men, and is in some ways kind of exactly what you would expect, I think, from a Wonder Woman
Especially
origin.
if you're familiar with her origin story in certain ways.
Yeah, but the thing that,
although there are certain things I think of as distinctly iconic to her origin, they're not here.
Yeah.
There's a big thing on the island that's in every origin I've ever seen.
Is it the games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bullets and bracelets.
Uh-huh. I was surprised not to see that. Didn't really miss it.
No,
ultimately, I thought for this it was kind of fine, but yeah. But the crux of the story, like when she leaves the island and going to help Steve Trevor fight the War of Men, which he describes as the war to end all wars, and she takes it literally, I thought was a really cool way to go with that.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised by it. The thing I was most surprised by, just getting straight into it, is that this movie made coherent sense. Yeah. I knew what was going on. That was really exciting. Just from the very start. Because I have to say, this is not a movie that I was especially looking forward to because of what we've had with the DC movies so far. Like, I've been let down now so many times that I was, of course, naturally, like I'm sure a lot of us, this is somewhat obligatory. Yeah, hope for the best, but expect the worst. Well, it was a real boy who cried wolf kind of scenario.
And to give it all of its props, it doesn't just barely make sense. Mm-hmm. It is a completely coherent
it's a story
piece.
From beginning to end. Yeah, I've got some reservations about the end, but it does. I know what's going on. Yeah. That was very exciting. Why don't we just jump straight into boards? How did you feel, Eric, about Wonder Woman? How did this movie make you feel?
Well, that's actually very apt. Feelings, no.
Feeling?
It made me feel like I was watching the movie I really needed right now.
Oh, wow, cool.
I don't know if you saw this. I'm real subtle. I kind of cried a little bit at the end of this movie.
I did too, and my mind is blown by that because so now that you've said that, let me just say that you having said that, we can both agree, really liked this movie.
I loved this movie.
Really liked this movie, and I was hoping that I would enjoy myself and that it would be a story. And that's where my standards were because of what we got with BVS and what we got with Suicide Squad. And from beginning to end, I was captivated.
Yep.
I was awestruck.
I said going in, my high watermark for this movie is I wanted this movie to make me care about Wonder Woman in the same way that Captain America made me care about Captain America.
Did it do that?
I don't care about Captain America in the comics, and I've tried Wonder Woman a number of times and don't really care about her in the comics. It absolutely did.
Yeah.
Gal Gadot is phenomenal.
She is marvelous.
Yep.
And like I said, I'm losing my mind over that because I didn't think she had any acting range, and that's not fair because she hasn't had anything to do yet.
Well, and in all the trailers, the way they sell this movie, she just looks like a moving statue.
She's got the same facial expression she had all the way through BVS.
She's phenomenal.
I assumed that, like I felt with that movie and with a lot of characters involved there, that it was just a film carrying actors through it, and that they weren't, progressing the story. That's not the case at all. And oh boy, is Chris Pine perfect. Perfectly matched with her, and I don't know. That's one of the best romantic relationships we've ever had in a superhero film.
Absolutely.
Instant charisma with the both of those characters, and instant chemistry between them. Yeah.
I really like the villain.
Yeah, I did too.
Who is a villain that I kind of rolled my eyes when they said that. Well, it's Ares. They said that the bad guy's Ares.
Yeah.
So I have read, this is going back years ago, but I read the George Perez, the first 6 issues or whatever, which is the origin story. The animated film and something else. Ares pops up and boy do I not care.
Yeah.
He's so boring. He had a philosophy that I understood, and I'm not saying the ending of this movie is saying anything new. But it really resonated with me. In not to get too political, but in the world that we're in right now, this is a film that's about peace and hope with no hatred at its heart. And I really like that.
Yeah, it's hopeful, but acknowledging the realities of the human condition.
But it's not angry about it. And that's the thing.
And that's
it's not angry.
Because that felt like, at least at the beginning of all this, some people felt this way with Man of Steel, certainly with BVS, that cynicism was the benchmark of these movies. That what separates it from Marvel is that it's serious, and that means and that means that it's got to be dire and dour, and people are just bad, and there is really no heroes, but we just do the best we can, and this is the antithesis of that. And boy, I didn't expect that from one of these movies.
No, and I mean, I'll say I think this is as good as or better than a lot of the Marvel movies. Like I say, all of them. This is better than Doctor Strange. Just that's the most recent example I can think of.
Yeah.
I think this is a really good movie. And it's the best version I've seen of Wonder Woman's origin for me.
I think so too. Yeah.
We've talked about before.
I like the animated movie a lot. You don't really care for it. I didn't expect this to be better than that. I liked it quite a bit better than that.
Yeah.
At least on first viewing.
One of my biggest things I really appreciate.
They're different stories, and I mean, I appreciate that. This is not the story I expected.
No, it's not.
Not at all.
One of the things I hadn't realized or been able to articulate until I saw this and saw it done differently is a thing that they change from all of the versions of Wonder Woman's origin I've seen before is Wonder Woman comes to the rest of the world and is very... what's the word? I had the word while I was watching the movie. I was thinking she's very... condescending,
yeah,
and very judgmental, and not even beginning to try and understand this completely different world that she's in. Shows up and is immediately, well, you're all idiots. And the movie and the comics that I've read, they're always on her side.
And how dare you not already be have the look at the world the way I do?
Yeah, this movie, she's in some places naive. She's allowed to be wrong, she's allowed to be right, and she's allowed to grow and learn and change. And she's not the same person when she leaves the island as she is at the end of the story.
That's right.
Which I think is almost never the case with Wonder Woman's origin. She rarely actually learns about the world.
Superman, where she kind of refuses to change. This is a Wonder Woman that does change. But doesn't lose her...
She doesn't lose her optimism.
Yeah, and she doesn't lose her principles.
Yeah, I thought this film did a phenomenal job with all of that.
It's weirdly a coming-of-age story that doesn't really purport itself to be that at the beginning. That's the thing I like, because you kind of get past what would be the coming-of-age bit. I mean, it's more of just a stranger in a strange land. She thinks she has to be trained so that she can, ultimately save the world and peace on Earth forever. The end, and it's just more complicated than that. And finally, a DC movie that is about the complexities of life, and again the dark
things are not black and white,
the dark and the light side of the human condition.
Yeah,
and I'll even go this far. This is one of the only things I've seen that in a long time anyway, that has a love conquers all message without that feeling sappy.
It doesn't feel sappy at all.
And that's crazy. Like when she starts throwing that word around, it's appropriate.
And yeah. Now, if somebody told me that they thought that the ending of the movie was sappy, I wouldn't disagree with them. It just wasn't for me. I didn't feel like it was.
I don't think the message is. I think the way it's presented maybe is.
We go a little over the top.
I think it goes a little too far.
There is a slight...
We get more speechy than we need to, and we do get to a point where I start saying, yeah, I get it. I'm I'm with you.
There's a slight disconnect.
But that's the only handholdiness I felt in the entire film.
Yeah.
I think it gives its audience a lot of credit, and a lot more credit than these ever have.
Yeah. There's a slight disconnect through some of this movie and some other parts of this movie in The villains are in a comic book movie.
And they're wonderful.
They're wonderful.
They're so fun.
And I didn't...
And I love all the joy they're taking in murdering people.
Yes.
And making war on people. It's great.
The ending didn't feel... Because there's a bit that you laughed at. We both laughed at the end.
That was not meant to be funny.
No, but it's totally okay.
Yeah.
Because it's a comic book movie.
And it is a comic
And it's
book.
having fun with the over-the-top villain making a... It was okay. It was okay that it did
because
that.
the rest of the movie hasn't been heavy-handed.
Yeah,
and because
it's not so self-serious that...
Yeah, and because it's had so much heart, and I'm so invested in these characters, and like everybody comes alive. Mm-hmm. Their version of basically the Howling Commandos are great.
Yeah,
like I like all of them.
Yeah,
and that's a thing that it outdoes Captain America with, because we don't spend nearly enough time.
Well, this is a better movie than the first
Avengers.
I think hands down this is a better movie than the first Avengers.
I think it is too.
And I also...
And can't believe I'm saying
right?
that. I can't tell you how overjoyed I am that I can finally give one of these DC movies. You said, and I don't know if it still is, but initially, the early reviews, 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. Oh, that's because it's good.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's not 97%, which is what we were joking about, what we were worried about. There's like, oh, they finally made one that actually counts as a movie.
Yeah.
No, it's genuinely really good.
It's not just the best of those movies, which is not
it's one of the best
in telling a
movies,
story. It's like this.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's really good.
Some of those exchanges, but especially early on, like the one on the boat with Diana and Steve Trevor.
You always have trouble with that name.
Are really funny. It's because we were talking about Captain America. It was Steve Rogers, Steve Trevor.
Oh, okay.
But which is really funny because this is also a period. But it's not.
I was gonna call him Captain Kirk the whole time, and I forgot about that.
It really takes its time and breathes, and I didn't check the.
This is not an action movie. It has action scenes.
Well,
we have a lot of talkie. We have a lot of talk.
Yeah, it is
in between.
It is a dialogue-driven movie much of the time. I think when it does get actiony, sometimes the action scenes go on longer than they need to. There's a war scene in particular, and part of that is actually my worst thing. So I'll save that for my board. But do you have a worst thing?
I do have a worst thing.
What would you like to complain about?
I complained about this in the trailers. I will still complain about this here.
Is your worst thing really the song thing?
No.
Okay.
No.
I thought that's what you were going to say.
No.
Yeah.
No, that somehow adds to the charm of the film.
And I don't think we're giving away too many spoilers in saying that because it's in the trailer. But,
yeah.
But the Wonder Woman theme that was in Snyder's movie, the Junkie XL theme, is in the movie and actually in scenes, like in action scenes, and it's integrated as well as could possibly be expected. The first time you hear it, it does kind of come out of nowhere, I think. After that, though, I don't know. There's a scene later on where I'm starting to dig on it.
Yeah,
I'm starting to actually buy. I'm starting to actually buy into it.
No.
It helps that I get her as a character. That might sound really weird, but like that. In the context of BVS, it sounded like it was part of that heavy, self-serious, unnecessarily overly cynical kind of thing, and I thought of her as just a warrior, just a killer, and she's got a real philosophy and a real I think she's a real role model. Like, I like her now, and so and she's like an actual hero, and so now that theme plays differently for me.
Yeah. No, and she's legitimately a role model, which is the first in the DC films. We have a superhero that I think kids could actually look at.
Down the road, Batman can be, but
not right now.
He wasn't in the last one.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Is in these set of films right now, she is the first one that we have that a kid could actually look up to.
This is so weird because a lot of people have been complaining that it wasn't advertised correctly. That we haven't.
I think
seen
it is advertised more action heavy than
there just hasn't been enough stuff about it. Like people have complained that it hasn't been enough in our face, and I think that Warner's has probably been more conservative because of what happened with BVS and maybe even Suicide Squad. I mean, they really overly merchandised that movie, and it's weird because now that I've seen it and liked it, it feels really important. It feels really important.
Yeah, no, I agree.
For its message, for its actual real depiction of real heroism, but also fighting against modern cynicism, and but also because not only is it the best DC movie, but we haven't had any good female-led superhero movies, and this is
genuinely good.
And it's genuinely good. So, like, we had this conversation earlier. It's not hard to be the best female-led superhero movie, because most of them are really bad.
But this is legitimately one of the best superhero movies, regardless of qualifications. This is in maybe top 10
am I going
superhero
to,
movies.
Would you go that far?
Maybe.
I'm not sure yet. I know I enjoyed it on that. Like, as I was watching it, felt that way.
First view, I would say I think my gut instinct is I think this is in the top 10 of all superhero films without qualifier. Just superhero films.
Well, then you won't think that it's too hyperbolic or going too far when I say this. I was going to say, I think now, just as far as, like, singular female superhero movies, because we're going to get more of them, Captain Marvel's going to have to work hard now.
Yep.
Which is exciting.
Captain Marvel doesn't get to just coast on being, like, the first good one.
Being a good, because we have a good one now.
Yep.
Oh, I am relieved to say that.
But, no, my worst thing is, we're still doing the Snyder slow down ramp up.
That's it. That's my thing.
Okay, cool.
That's my thing.
Nope. Just and you know what bothered me the most is in the final.
It felt 3D pandery.
Yeah. In the
some of that,
in the
some of
final
that
climax, we do part of that fight in slow motion, and it works.
Yes,
and it would work 100 times more if we didn't have slow motion for the rest.
If we didn't do it anywhere else, you really don't need it on Themyscira. And when I saw the previews and saw that was that something that was going to be there and on the island, I raised my eyebrow, and it's not any better in the movie.
Do we do a best thing? Is that a thing we do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, you gave.
I couldn't remember.
Plenty of.
Okay.
But you can go ahead and highlight your best thing if you wanted to do that.
I don't know. I don't specifically have one. I was like, I did a worst thing. Do I do a best thing?
Well, you were mostly praising the film, so that's why I asked you if you had a worst thing.
I really like Ares. I think it's a really fun performance, and it does something that we never do with supervillains, or this kind of villain ever. We build to him.
Yeah.
In such a way that you can actually question whether he exists or not.
Yeah, and I didn't want to go too far in talking about that yet, and we'll do a spoiler cast.
Yeah.
There is a mystery surrounding him that was a big risk, because if you'd done it wrong, it could have wrecked the whole movie.
But here's the thing. We have done...
Wouldn't have wrecked the relationship with Steve and Diana necessarily, but it might have wrecked the bad guy plot of the movie. But it does, until we get to that, it feels like a war movie first, and I really respected that.
The thing about it is, we have done a similar kind of thing in other superhero films, and other just genre films, and the problem is, we always open with a scene of the bad guy, and we have scenes of the bad guy all the way through, and so when other characters like, I don't believe you, you're like, but we know!
Yeah.
We're the audience! We know! We see this bad guy every 6 scenes!
And she really is naive.
Yes.
And she really does have too simplified of a worldview, and she has to see what the real world is like.
And Ares is not exactly what you think he's going to be.
Yeah.
There are, you know... It is not as simple as, well, he's not real, he is real. Like, there's a little bit more to it than that. But I also really liked the one of the things that they did that I thought was fun with the World War I setting was that whenever we do World War II settings, it's always the race to the nuclear bomb. Like, well, we know that gets created, so we're going to have someone create that. Because it's not World War II, it's World War I. We have some fun with doing other war inventions. We're like, this is where this comes from.
That it feels like we've had forever.
Yeah, it was nice to see one of these, and it wasn't a nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
Or a stand-in for a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, and it didn't. The scope didn't feel too big.
Nope. I have a small criticism with the final scene, but I'm not getting into that here.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's scope. I've got a thing.
Yeah. Well, I'll flip my board. This movie made me feel simply wonderful.
Nice.
Wonderful.
Nice. I can do stars.
I had such
I can do better stars than those.
I was so happy. I just left the film feeling happy.
Yep.
I'm
gonna.
And not just because.
Surprise.
And not just
sometimes these feel.
Yeah, right. Not just because I didn't really expect to care for it, or if it was okay, I thought it would be just mediocre.
Yeah, that's
we saw the previews and thought it looked kind of generic. It's just what they were showing us.
Yep.
I mean, again, I had an open mind, and I was hoping to be won over. And I mean, from the beginning, from the very beginning, that little girl at the beginning is great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we get a young Diana. You see her in the trailer. You get a really good child performance there. She had a couple lines that made the audience laugh. The levity was perfectly well integrated throughout.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just...
And where I and other people have complained about sometimes it being intrusive in like Civil War and Doctor Strange, it never feels intrusive. It always feels character driven. There are never jokes and gags for there to be jokes and gags that come out of scenes.
My best thing, I mean, there's a lot of stuff I could throw out.
Absolutely.
So I'll just say Chris Pine is real close.
Absolutely.
Gal Gadot actually being as charismatic as some of the early reviews said she was, I just couldn't. I'm beside myself.
Yep.
Oh, she can act.
And she can act really well.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a genuine performance, and she made me invested and root for her the whole movie, and it's the kind of superhero where you want to be her by the end. Yeah. And you want the world to be the perfect place she wishes it was, and then when you get to the end and she has her explanation and where she's gotten to, which I don't think is too heavy-handed,
no.
She you know, why she still cares about people even though we weren't as perfect as she thought we were. It's a real tug at the heartstrings kind of thing.
I agree.
Like I really felt for it, but it was wonderfully endearing. I didn't expect this to be a feel good movie.
You know,
and it was, and somewhat thought provoking, but it was a feel good movie.
Since I moved here, we've seen a number of films. A number of films I've really liked and really disliked. This is the first time I've ever cried since I've been here.
Really?
Yeah, this is the first time I've cried in a movie since I've been here.
And that's nuts, because some of it just because your expectations were so low, or was it because it resonated with you?
No, it's all about the ending.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, the ending, message-wise, what's dealing with resonated with me, but also the Steve Trevor Diana relationship worked so well that added to to everything going on resonating. And oh boy, have I seen that done, like, almost exactly the Steve Diana stuff done poorly. I don't mean literally like with Wonder Woman, I mean just superhero movies across the board. They do things where I have seen this exact scene and felt nothing.
Yeah.
And I really felt it.
Wonder Woman, of course, is known as a feminist icon. Mm-hmm. And I thought that the way the gender role thing, which I talked about a whole lot when I did the animated Wonder Woman movie, because that's really what that's about. Mm-hmm. It's handled in a really sophisticated way.
Yeah,
I think. And, and I feel like Wonder Woman in this is what I wanted Supergirl to be. It's what I've wanted a lot more of these of new interpretations of female superheroes to be, which a lot of people seem to just not really know how to write. Is we just make her a strong female character and put her on the screen, and we don't have to flash in neon lights. Like, look how progressive we are. And man, I was really impressed with that. She just is a really good strong female character, and the politics of the day are the politics of the day.
Yep.
And so when it comes up, it feels natural. Yeah. And I wasn't sure that I could expect that. Anyway, that was the thing I was very excited about.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say that my absolute best thing, and I can't say any more than just making the statement, is how the sword is handled.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Okay.
That was a big freaking deal to me.
Yep.
But we can't say anything else until the spoiler cast.
I know.
But
because
that was a reservation I had. It's the best idea in the movie.
I have a thing that I love about it, and then there's another thing that makes it pointless.
Oh. Well, we'll talk about it later.
Okay, I'm just gonna say BVS exists.
Okay, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But that's and
right.
And I wondered about that.
Yeah.
But just for the sake
in the context
of the
film, brilliant.
Brilliant. Yeah. And can we just say how gorgeous this movie is?
It's
like
beautiful.
besides the kind of annoying slow motion in places, which sometimes was just kind of pointless. And again, I just didn't like that it slowed down action scenes that I felt like were already longer than they needed to be. But the Themyscira stuff especially, is so pretty. And I just felt like, I forget the name of this director, but I felt like she just really wanted to make this movie.
Yeah. I saw something from her recently that she's excited to make a second one, so
I hope she gets
I hope she gets to make it,
because there was so much reverence for this character, and I will go on record to say I've never felt like I understand Wonder Woman, and I understood this character.
Yeah, same here.
And I cared about her, and I hope it translates to the comics.
I got a couple of months ago I got the first volume of Rucka's first Wonder Woman and then the first volume of her New 52, I kind of want to read those now. Like, they just kind of been sitting there in my to read pile.
The Wonder Woman I've seen most of the time when I see her in comics, I feel like she's just like real solid and distant, and she's not real relatable. You know, she's always got this wall up, and she's almost too larger than life. And this movie managed to humanize her without losing the awe-inspiring, iconic aspect.
Yeah. Well, and I'll say the first time we see her in costume is genuinely awe-inspiring.
It really is.
It's fantastic.
I had some, and again, I'm afraid of going too far, but I had a little bit of like feelings of Richard Donner in places.
You know, I thought the same thing. Especially early on, I'm like, oh, we're structuring this like Richard Donner.
Maybe most of that is just that relationship, because I think it's as perfect as it was with Lois and Clark in the Donner movie, and it feels like that again.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Except that Chris Pine is someone people know,
and while I have
also he brings Kirk to this in the very best possible ways.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I can't imagine him giving this performance until he's played that. Like, I think he needed that as a stepping stone to make this movie.
While I have dabbled in Wonder Woman here and there, always wanting to like Wonder Woman, but never really finding something that really spoke to me, I've never felt that way about Steve Trevor. I've always thought he was a useless character that needs to be written out immediately.
Yeah, me too.
I really like him. I really like Steve Trevor in this movie.
That is, I think, all we're going to say right now.
Yeah.
Once again, not just feeling it, but like strong feeling it.
I loved this movie. And I wasn't expecting... Like, I was expecting, at best, to be like... We were joking that, like, it was going to be a competent movie.
Yeah.
We
thought we would come into this and act like it was the best movie in the world because we understood what was happening.
Yep.
And we're not joking.
I loved it.
It was wonderful. We'll do a spoiler cast here in the not too distant future, probably Sunday. And in the meantime, thanks for watching, folks. Leave your comments. Let us know how you felt about it if you saw the film. And in the meantime, I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
See you, folks.
Do 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 do